And tajassus doesn't even have to be something that is surreptitious. In a famous incident that Ibn Kathir and others report, that Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he was walking in the streets of Medina patrolling, because it's his job to patrol. He's the Amir, he's the Khalifa, and he had with him the chief of the security, right? And in the middle of the night, in a faraway house, they saw the light open. So they walked towards that house and they hear the sound of wine glasses and people laughing and joking, as you would expect when that type of raucous party is taking place, drunk people, you hear their sound. Now, by the way, as I've explained so many times, our religion is divine, our history is human. This is happening in Medina in the reign of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. People are always going to be people. We have to be realistic about our history and our past. In Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu's time, he comes across this house, 2 a.m. at night, a bunch of men getting drunk, drinking, whatnot, and the chief of police, the person with him, he became angry. He wanted to barge and open the door. Umar ibn Khattab held his hand. He goes, no. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا, and this is tajassus. They're doing it in their house. This is to break in and to see what they're doing. This is tajassus. Can you believe? And I don't even need to explain to you the overzealous mentality that our current mindset is of those who believe they're the icons of guarding Islam. A'udhu billah, they don't understand the goals of the Sharia. Private sins are remaining private. Even if you can hear it in the house, you don't barge in and check. It's not your business. You give a khutbah the next day and you give a generic warning about drinking, no problem. But you do not barge into people's houses and see what they are doing. This is tajassus by the exact definition of Umar al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala. Now, to conclude, though, there are exceptions, and I have to mention these exceptions. The default, you don't say anything to another person. There are exceptions. I'll mention 5 of them. Number 1, the most obvious one, a court of law. You are called by the judge, you are called by the Shari'i court, or even a regular court that is wanting to investigate a crime, and you are a witness. In this case, there is no concealment. Allah says, وَلَا تَكْتُمُ الشَّهَادَةِ, do not conceal testimony. And Allah says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين. Be firm in your testimony to Allah. Be firm in your shahada, even if it is against yourselves and it is against your own father and mother. Al-walidain. If you are called in the court and the court asks you, did your father commit this crime? Did your mother commit this crime? The Sharia, the Quran is explicit. Now you have to bear witness and testimony, because law is law. And even if it's against your own family or against yourself, we don't have the 5th Amendment in Islam. Understand this point. We cannot plead the 5th, right, in an Islamic court. You have to bear witness even against yourself, according to the Quran. So this is the first exception. There is no hiding and concealing. The second exception is a specific nasiha for an obvious reason. Somebody comes and asks you a question about another person for an obvious reason, marriage or business partnership or wanting to do something with that person. And he says, Akhi, this person has proposed, for my daughter, for my the family has proposed, this is a daughter in this family. What do you know of this family? Do you think it's a good proposal? Now, this is not, now you have to be open. And now you must, be very frank and say what you know about this family, because now this is a maslaha or a prerogative that is necessary for the person to know. So this is the second reality. And of course, this is proven in the hadith, multiple hadith of them. Fatima bint Qais, she came to the Prophet ﷺ. She said, Ya Rasulullah, she had lost her husband. She's a widow. Now the iddah has finished. Ya Rasulullah, I've gotten 2 proposals. One from Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan and the other from Abu Jahm. Which one should I accept? So the Prophet ﷺ said, أَمَّا مُعَاوِيَةَ فَصَعْلُوا كُلَّ مَالَ لَهُ. As for Muawiyah, he is somebody who is bankrupt. He has no money. And as for Abu Jahm, he is somebody who is known to beat his wives. Pause here. Notice multiple things, by the way. Number 1, and this is a very deep hadith here, maybe another khatir I'll give. There's nothing wrong except with rejecting somebody who cannot take care of you financially. Fatima was used to a standard of living, and the Prophet was saying, Muawiyah is not your standard. Muawiyah has no money. And by the way, Muawiyah had no money at this time. 40 years later, he will be one of the wealthiest people in all of Islamic history, because he becomes the Khalifa. But you judge people at that time. So Muawiyah is Sa'luk. He is bankrupt. He has no money. it's not going to be a good match for you. And as for Abu Jahm is somebody who beats his women. Again, he said something that otherwise you should cover up. Meaning, somebody's bankrupt, you don't expose it. Somebody doesn't have any money and somebody's beating up the women, you don't publicly, say something embarrassing unless there's a reason to prevent. Now you want to prevent. Now you want to make sure this doesn't happen again. And so he will tell Fatima, do not marry. And again, this is common sense here. You know a person's bad akhlaq, he's not a good person to his women, he should not be marrying another woman. So now when the time comes, you then tell that person. So this is the second specific nasiha for a reason. The third is if you have to get a fatwa from a shaykh or alim and you have to say something specific about another person, right? If you must say, even though our scholars say, if you can hide the identity, it is better. But sometimes you cannot. And sometimes you must be explicit in this regard. And there are a number of examples. There's a bit of an awkward one, but it is from the hadith and we should learn this, that a lady got married to a man and that man had a medical incapability to consummate the marriage, if you get my drift here, right? And she had no option or alternative because the man concealed a fault. And if you have a medical fault, O Muslim, you cannot conceal a medical fault from a future spouse. This is khiyana, this is a betrayal of trust. So this was a man who could not, be a man in the relationship. He had a medical issue. So she literally went to the Prophet and she said in front of everybody, even though it is what it is, that this is a man, and she picked up her thobe and she goes, then she made the ishaz like, this is like the end of my thobe. Like he cannot be a man to me. What do I do now? So the Prophet had to give the khula and whatnot. This is a fatwa. In a fatwa, she has to be explicit. So once again, clearly when you have to get the fatwa, you're allowed to mention something that might be embarrassing or something that is specific. This is point number 3. Point number 4, if the secret or the amana or whatever information is going to cause harm to somebody else. If it's something that will cause harm, Allah says in the Quran, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْعَى قَالَ يَا مُوسَى إِنَّ الْمَلَا يَأْتَمِرُونَ بِكَ. One of the viziers of Fir'aun, he came running to Musa and he goes, "O Musa, the ministers of Fir'aun are wanting to kill you. They're having a secret meeting. They wanted to kill you. Get out. I am a sincere nasih to you." This was an amana. In that secret gathering, Fir'aun decided to kill Musa. But this is not an amana that you have to obey. On the contrary, Allah praises the man. Because when you're privy to information that is, astaghfirullah, assassination attempt, astaghfirullah, crime, you cannot keep it. And you have to go and prevent or help people. This is the 4th category. And then the 5th one, really it's the same as the 4th, but more specific I want to say, a sin that is not personal, but will affect other people. Because a personal sin, drinking, drugs, alcohol, even zina, a personal sin, it's none of your business to go tell other people about a personal sin. You go directly to that person. There's an explicit athar. One of the tabi'un, his name, he's one of the students of the Sahaba, that a man came to him and he goes that, "I know my neighbor is drinking. I know, I have seen it, my neighbor is drinking. Should I go and tell, the imara, to the police, whatever, the Islamic imara, the whatnot?" And the neighbor said to him, "No, it's not your business to go and say. If he's doing it in his house and you happen to see it from your house, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has demanded that you cover up the faults of your believers." This is explicit. So if it is a personal, private sin that's not affecting anybody, and the tabi'i said to him, you should go to him directly and address him directly and tell him to fear Allah directly, but do not go to the police, do not go to the sultan. This is an Islamic emirate, this is the Khulafa ar-Rashidun. He goes, "No, don't do this." And we already told you the incident of Umar ibn al-Khattab. However, if somebody is predatory, if somebody is embezzling, stealing, if somebody is a fraud, if somebody is a threat to public order, that is different. And Allah says in the Quran, "La yuhibbullahu jahra bis-su'il illa man zulim." Allah does not love you publicize any type of evil unless zulm has occurred. So if somebody is going to be doing zulm to other people, then yes, you must prevent in a reasonable manner and use whatever means necessary to. And again, there's a wisdom here, because again, if somebody is local, you don't go and put it online for 10 billion people to read. You go to that person or the authorities in that area and you use your wisdom in order to stop it. Bottom line, and inshallah with this we conclude, isn't it amazing that our Sharia has taken care of even such minute aspects of our akhlaq? Isn't it absolutely mind-boggling that something as trivial as, hey, if you have a conversation, then keep it secret. Our Prophet is advising us and he's instructing us. What a beautiful faith we have. What an amazing tradition that we have, that we are told to have these beautiful akhlaq. And this goes back to exactly what our Prophet said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent to perfect good manners. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who embody those good manners. Wa jazakumullahu khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.